Okay, intrepid travelers, if there's one question that I get, not on every Zoom call or planning Zoom call, but for people that are coming to Thailand, I get this question quite a lot, and it is, Bill, out of all the islands on Thailand, what island should I visit? What makes sense? I mean, you've got Phuket to pick from. You got Krabi, which is really the mainland, but it feels like an island. You got Koh Samui. Those are the big ones. And about 4,000 others, by the way. They all look incredible. They all promise that perfect Thailand experience, at least on Instagram anyway. But here's the truth. Most people are asking maybe the wrong question. But because it's not just about which island you choose, it's about when you're going, how you like to travel, what you want your days to actually look like, and what kind of experiences do you want to have. And if you get any of that wrong, you can end up in the right country at the wrong time, in the wrong place for what you're looking to accomplish. So in this episode, I'm going to break this down for you in like the most simple way possible. By the end of this, you'll know exactly where you should go and more importantly, when and why. So let's go. If there's one decision that can quietly make or break your entire trip, it's not the hotel, and it's not really even the island you choose, although they both are important. It's when you go. And here's the thing most people don't realize. Thailand doesn't have one weather system. It has two, right? You'll hear them talked about as either the southwest monsoon or the northeast monsoon. And please don't get the word monsoon. Don't let that word throw you right here. We're only talking about the direction of the wind in this case. It's nothing to do with the force of the wind when we use that term in this way. In this case, the word monsoon does not mean hurricane. Nothing of the sort. Now, on the Andaman side, places like Phuket and Krabi, and even Koh Samui and Koh Lipe, you're looking at the peak season of between November and April. Okay? Peak season for places on the Siam Spice Route. You'll see, during that time, you'll see blue skies, calm seas, postcard conditions. It's magic. It really is. But flip over to the Gulf side, Koh Samui, and the weather pattern shifts, believe it or not. And that's actually where you want to be from about May through September. So right away, this isn't just a destination decision, it turns out to be a timing decision. Now let's go deeper because it's not just about the rain and maybe the wind. The time of year affects the sea conditions, which is important, not only if you're a sailor, but also if you're a scuba diver or you want to snorkel here, which determines if you can island hop down the thing, but usually most of the time you can with speedboats and longtail boats no matter when you come. But it determines if you can island hop, if you can snorkel or sail comfortably. Diving access is also something really important because during the off season, a lot of dive shops just close up shop and go away and come back, when it starts again. For example, the Similin Islands, a world-class diving area, but they're only open part of the year. And most importantly, underwater, if you come at the wrong season, you won't have really good underwater visibility like you will at the peak season. Crowds and pricing. Peak season versus shoulder season can be completely different in terms of pricing. It certainly can change your experience in terms of pricing anyway. And the energy of the destination, busy, buzzing, social, or quiet, relaxed, and almost private. Sometimes it's good, but it's always a trade-off. I can remember going to Phuket one year in the middle of the off-season, and it just rained and blew, and there was no one on this street that is the street leading up to Patong Walking Street. There was absolutely no one on that street that day, and it was just bizarre because that street is usually packed wall to wall with people. And here's something that I've seen happen over and over again. someone books a beautiful trip to Phuket in July and spends half the time looking at gray skies and rough seas. Hopefully, June this year will be fantastic. I'm hoping that June weather hangs out till June. I'm hoping. Anyway, meanwhile, someone else goes to Koh Samui on that same week and thinks Thailand has the best weather in the world. And that's certainly possible. Same country, same week, completely different experience. So before you even ask, should I go to Phuket or Krabi or Koh Samui? The first thing you need to ask is, hey, when am I going? And where does Thailand work best at that time? You get this right, and man, everything else is easier. But I will tell you that there's pretty much, coming to Thailand, there's pretty much no bad time except for maybe the season up north where they where all the farmers burn the crops and you get really bad visibility and breathing conditions up there. Sometimes that happens, but it's never been all that bad for me. Okay, let's say you had a Zoom call with me and we've dialed in when you're going to come and you've got that perfect, right? The next question is where this really becomes, this next question, it becomes your trip. And I think that's important because not everybody travels the same. Not all travelers are the same. And the biggest mistake I see, people choose a destination based on what looks good online instead of what actually fits how they travel. So let me help you figure this out really quickly. If you're the kind of traveler who wants action with no possibility whatsoever of boredom, you want great restaurants, you want beach clubs and maybe a little nightlife thrown in, and everything just works on that kind of level with endless choices of things to do. Okay, Phuket definitely is your move. And believe it or not, I explained that to people, and more people than not would choose Phuket, but they've heard a lot about things about the traffic and about this one area of the middle of Phuket where it's just absolutely insanely crowded. But Phuket's a really big island, and you can work around that. Phuket is the most developed island in Thailand and actually the biggest. It's where first-time travelers usually feel the most comfortable, except for on 402. That's the main road through up and down in Phuket. Except for that traffic sitting in that is just ridiculous. Sitting light after light after light. Think DC. The only thing I can tell you is think DC down to Fredericksburg during that rush hour from 4 o'clock on. For those on the east coast of the United States, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just like that. Now, if you're looking for something a little more authentic, more visual, more wow factor, then Krabi stands out, right? Krabi is the place that has visually amazing islands. This is where you get the most dramatic limestone cliffs, places like Raleigh and kayaking through caves and rock climbing. Feels a little bit more like, an adventure. And I love Krabi. In fact, I think I'm going to buy some land there and move there. And then you've got Koh Samui. And this is a different energy altogether. It's more polished. It's probably the most polished island in Thailand. It's certainly far more relaxed than other places. Think palm trees, calm water, spa days, massage on the beach, long lunches. It's a slower rhythm. And now let's layer in diving for a second if you're a scuba diver. If you're traveling with someone who dives or you're thinking about trying it out, Phuket gives you access to some of the best dive sites in the country. There's no doubt about that. And Krabi works well if you're mixing in diving with other land-based adventures. But if your goal is to actually learn how to dive or do multiple easy dive days all in a row, then that's where the Gulf side really shines, especially Koh Tao, right? So if you're going to learn to dive, I highly recommend those three islands, Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, and Koh Tao. Koh Tao is the one. So here's a shift you want to make. You're not choosing between islands, you're choosing between experiences, right? Are you looking for exciting and social? Are you looking for adventurous and visual, or relaxed and refined? Right? Because once you answer that, the destination, it almost chooses itself, really. Next, now let's talk about something most people really don't think about in a big way until they're already in the actual middle of it. And that's logistics. The logistics of getting around Thailand. Because every transfer, every wait, every extra step, every grab car, that's energy you're spending doing that instead of enjoying your trip. I know, and I know this firsthand. When I plan our expeditions, this is the most difficult part of the planning process by far. So here's the question. How easy do you want this to be? Right? If you want maximum ease, and you really can't, then you really can't beat, flying into Phuket International Airport and going from there. It's easiest and probably the less transfers you have to do. You land, you're about 30 to 60 minutes, depending on the traffic, 30 to 60 minutes from your hotel. And the entire trip can start right there at Phuket. Now, there are flights that come in internationally into Phuket. So you might, if you're close enough, you might not even fly into Bangkok, just fly directly to Phuket. But most people that I deal with from the United States or the UK, it's usually Bangkok first. You can start right there. No ferries, no complicated transfers. Everything is built for your convenience, except for the traffic, on Phuket. Now compare that to Krabi. Krabi is incredible. But depending on where you're staying, especially places like Railay, you might be taking a van and then you hop into a long-tail boat, or maybe dealing with the lack of boats altogether because, hey, it's night and a lot of these boats don't travel at night. It's just for them, it's just not safe enough. It's part of the adventure though, but it's not effortless. And if you're coming on one of our expeditions, we'll get you there into some of those really cool spots. But you got to be willing to be a little uncomfortable on some of those long-tail boats. And then you've got Koh Samui, a beautiful airport. Oh, really cool airport. But super unique experience landing there because it's tiny, and the airport is entirely, once you get into the terminal, it's entirely open spaces. There's no walls. It's really bizarre, but it's far more expensive because Bangkok Air has the monopoly on Samui. Far fewer direct international routes for sure. So almost always, 99% of the time, you're connecting through Suvarnabhumi Airport into Samui. And if you're heading beyond Samui, say, up to Koh Tao, now you're adding ferries into the mix. Now there's a really cool ferry that goes from Surat Thani to Samui, then to Koh Phangan, and then up to Koh Tao, and then runs back. It's called the Lampraya Speed Catamaran. It's a big catamaran ferry that does that route, and I highly recommend it. Now let's layer in diving and island access to the mix. From Phuket, you've got some of the easiest access to world-class diving trips and island hopping. Now, to get to some of the world-class diving trips from Phuket, it's usually a long boat ride out. Certainly you can get closer to some of those world-class places if you know what you're doing. From Krabi, there's a little more effort there, but there's often fewer crowds leaving from Krabi, so I really like that, but the same effort and long boat rides to get to the dive sites. From Samui, you're usually moving yourself to Koh Tao, the island of Koh Tao, the turtle island, for diving, which means you're closer to some world-class diving sites, less travel time, but certainly a smaller island, and it might get a little more expensive. And you'll probably want to be there for a while too, for however many days it takes to get whatever level of diving skill you're looking to accomplish. So here's the insight I want you to take away. The more moving parts the trip has, the more chances there are for friction, right? Friction in terms of how how your experience is. And many times in Thailand, the friction is worth it, but sometimes it's not. So you got to ask yourself, do I want this trip to feel like an expedition, or do I want to keep the friction of transfers to an absolute minimum? But if you do that, really you're stuck to just sitting on a beach, and you can do that anywhere in the world, right? Although the beaches here are quite nice. Because there is no right answer though, but there is a right answer for you, and that's what we want to find out. So we just talked about the beaches. Next question to ask is, what kind of Thai beach do you actually want? Now, this one sounds pretty simple, right? But this is where the expectations and reality can collide, right? You've seen so much of it on Instagram. There's an Instagram way and there's the reality way. Because when people picture Thailand beaches, they usually imagine one very specific thing. White sand, clear water, palm trees arcing out over the small ripple of waves, no crowds. The truth is that beach does exist. It certainly exists multiple times, but it's not everywhere. So let's break this down. If you go to Phuket, you are getting a variety of beaches. You've got places like Patong, super busy, social, a lot going on, a lot of people to talk to. But you've also got quieter beaches if you know exactly where to go on Phuket. And they're pretty hidden though. Phuket gives you options. Now Krabi is different. This is where Thailand gets dramatic. Places like Railay, towering limestone cliffs and long-tail boats getting you there, and cutting across the turquoise water in front of the beach. It's usually one of the most visually stunning places in Southeast Asia. There's kind of no doubt about that. People say, oh, I want to go to Vietnam and go to Ha Long Bay. Yeah, this is better than Ha Long Bay because it's bigger and less tourist and crowded. Krabi is fantastic. But here's the honest truth. Some of the beaches are better for looking at than they are for swimming on an everyday basis. Tides, access, boat traffic, it's all part of the trade-off. And then you've got Samui, and this is where things get easy again for the beaches. You got palm-lined beaches, generally calmer water because it's in the Gulf. Great for swimming, relaxing, spending long days by the sea. It's less about dramatic scenery and more about kind of living on the beach, living the beach life. Now, I will tell you, if you go to Samui, Ang Thong Marine Park is very close to that, and there's where you will get dramatic scenery. So don't feel like, hey, I'm going to Samui and I'm not going to get dramatic scenery. Samui even has a kind of little mountain on it with a beautiful waterfall. So I'm not dissing Samui at all. It's just a different experience than Phuket, is what I'm trying to say. Now let's add one layer most people completely miss when they get here, and that's what's under the water. Because a beautiful beach doesn't always mean great snorkeling or diving. Certainly, that's been my case 100 times. And sometimes the one that looks rocky and not very good, those are the best ones for snorkeling and diving, right? So some of the best underwater experiences in Thailand aren't right off the main beaches at all. You'll need to get out to the smaller islands or onto a boat, which is why you hear people say, this beach is nice, but the real magic was the day we had when we went out to Phi Phi Lay or the Similins, something like that. So here's the shift. Don't just ask, which beach looks the best on Instagram? Right? Ask, do I want a beach to look at every day out of my window, or a beach to actually live on and have a cafe, eat on a cafe there, or a beach that's a gateway to what's out there? Those are three very different types of trips. And once you know which one you want, you're getting very close to the right decision. Now, I love asking this next question. So, all right, now we get to the point where the decision is usually becoming quite obvious, because At the end of the day, your trip isn't just about where you stay, it's about what you want your days to actually look like. So here's the question I love. Let me ask you this. When you wake up in Thailand, what do you want to be excited to do? What makes you excited about coming to Thailand? I got 100 answers to that. But if your answer is, I want options, I want energy, I want great food, I want beach clubs with happy people and dancing, maybe a little nightlife, and different things to do every day, like jet skis and what are those things, those parachute things that you fly up over the beach on? I want to do those, right? Then Phuket is going to check a lot of those boxes off for you. You can dive one day, hit a beach club the next, go out to Phi Phi Island and try great restaurants every night. It's variety like you wouldn't believe. Oh, you can go see Lily's Elephant Camp, and you can go to the Fantasy, which is all these lights, and then the Carnival Magic Park with like world record, Guinness World Record beating lights. It's just absolutely amazing. So Phuket's definitely somewhere you should at least spend a day or two on. Now, if your answer is, I want to be active, I want to explore, I want to feel like I'm in the landscape, I'm part of the culture, then Krabi stands out for you. Here's what your day might look like there. Yeah, you could go rock climbing and on Rayleigh, but you'll want to hang out a little bit on Rayleigh and catch the reggae bars. You want to kayak through the mangroves, that's always fun, and check out the wildlife there, maybe see some monkeys overhead, who knows. You want to hike the viewpoints. Oh my God, Krabi has the coolest viewpoints, and there's this one hike that is, it just takes it all out of you, but it's kind of worth it, right? And getting out to the islands that make you feel a little less touched. Remember, there's well over, I think it's 4,200 islands here in Thailand. And I've probably been to 60 of them, so I got a lot more to go. Right? It's more hands-on, it's more adventure in Krabi, but I love it. Right? Krabi's, like I said, I'm probably going to live there. And then there's Koh Samui. If your answer is, I want to relax and I want to recharge and I want everything to slow down, and I want to de-stress and detox and have that spa day, then man, Samui is your place. All right, spa days, long lunches, calm water, super romantic. Maybe a light excursion here and there. No pressure, no rush. That's Koh Samui. Now let's bring diving into this again, because diving, it doesn't just fill a couple of your hours here. It shapes your entire week, maybe, if you're learning to do it, or certainly the entire day. Early wake-ups, boat rides, and multiple dives. You come back tired, but man, in the best way. Believe it or not, diving does take a little bit out of you. So if diving's a big part of your trip, I would recommend the islands near Samui. Maybe not on Samui. Well, yeah, maybe. But Koh Tao seems to be the mecca for that. Phuket gives you access with a variety all around it, but longer boat trips. Krabi lets you combine that with island on the mainland adventure, which gives you amazing choices. And if you're doing an all-in diving trip, if you're going all in for diving, getting your PADI advanced open water certificate, multiple days, maybe getting that certification, then Koh Tao is where you want to be. That will become the center of your world. So here's the takeaway. Don't build your trip around a destination. Build it around your ideal day, or what you're trying to accomplish, or what you want this to feel like. Because if you get it right, every single day of your trip starts to feel exactly the way you imagined it, and it becomes epic and actually transformational. And that's kind of what we try to deliver on our Thailand Magic of Thailand expedition. Wow, I've talked a lot about this subject. I thought this was going to be a lot shorter. Now, here's one that is really hard to answer, but it might be maybe the most important of all. It's not your budget. It doesn't matter about that. It's not your destination. It's your energy level. Because I've seen this happen over and over and over again. People plan this incredible, packed Thailand itinerary, 3 cities, 4 islands, day trips every day, and by 5 o'clock they're exhausted. They need a vacation from their vacation. So let me ask you honestly, as I would if we were doing a Zoom planning call, how much energy do you really want to bring to this trip? If this is your moment to slow down, reset, and breathe a little bit from work, then places, like Koh Samui make a lot of sense. Everything is easy, calm water, slower pace. You can do much or as little as you want. Now, if you've got a bit more energy, man, you're like pumping it up. You still want to stay up late and party a bit, but this is also like having and you also like having daytime options, then Phuket is where you want to go. If you need a good dose of nature and you want to explore a lot, you want to move and do something different every day, get that feeling, then Krabi is gonna reward you there. But here's where it gets real. Let's talk about the diving and island hopping, especially the island hopping, because that's my thing. Because those are not passive activities. Early morning, boat rides, sun exposure, yeah. You're in and out of the water, you're moving. It's amazing, but it does take some energy. Same thing with fast-paced island hopping tours that you might get on. They look incredible on Instagram, but they can be long and hot, and they're just full on sometimes. Now compare that to a slower day, coffee on the beach, a swim, lunch, maybe a massage, certainly sunset, completely different experience. I like to change them up. I like to do one day and then the other thing the next, and you get that rhythm going, and you can cruise through your vacation. Again, completely a different experience. So here's the question that I want you to sit in your mind with. Do I want this trip to excite me, or do I want this trip to restore me? Because both of those are incredible, but they lead you in 2 very different directions and 2 very different decisions. And if you match your destination to your energy level, that's where Thailand really starts to feel absolutely effortless. All right, my friends, now let me show you the move that flips this all on its head, makes it all perfect, works out together no matter what decision you make. Because up to this point, we've talked about choosing between islands, Phuket, Krabi, Samui, and that's how most tourists travel to Thailand. If you listen to this podcast, I know you're not one of those, are you? You're not one of like, I'm going to choose, they pick 1, maybe 2, book the hotels, take the day trips, and they get pushed into that crowded area. And they see a nice but certainly crowded version of Thailand. But there's another way to do this puppy. And once you see it, it's very hard to go back, right? When you charter a catamaran, right, you're not stuck in just one place. You wake up in a quiet bay, you have coffee on deck, and then you sail to somewhere new. If that's somewhere new, you want excitement and nightlife, no problem. It's just a dinghy ride away. No packing, no checkouts, no transfers, just movement of your hotel along with you on your terms. You don't visit the islands, you live between them. From Phuket, you're not just going to Phi Phi for the day. You might be sailing and anchoring right near Phi Phi Lay, right? You're sailing through Padang Bay, Koh Yai, Railay, Phi Phi Island, Koh Lanta, Koh Kradan, maybe even down to Koh Lipe. That's the Siam spice route. Instead of rushing with 20 other people crammed into a speedboat that is hopping over these waves and slamming you down every other trough, you really can't see out of. You can't see out of these puppies, right? It's different than that. You arrive early or late or not at all. It's your choice. The best beaches aren't the ones you see on Google either. Here's something most people don't realize. The best beaches in Thailand, yeah, they're not usually the ones you can drive to. They're the ones you anchor off, right? No crowds, no jet skis, no noise, just you, your crew, if you have a crew, and the water that looks like it's been filtered. It's just clear and visible. Your diving and snorkeling completely changes. Remember that we've talked about diving. Now imagine this. Instead of waking up early, driving and getting a transfer to the pier and then getting to on a crowded dive boat, you just step off your own boat and you snorkel where the water is calm. You dive when the conditions are right, and you move if the visibility changes. Move to where somewhere better. Hopefully, the captain that you have knows exactly where he's going and put you in the right places for the best snorkeling. You're not diving where the tours go. You're diving where you decide to be. It matches every travel style. And like I say, when we do the expeditions, we like to mix it up. We like to go one day with lots of experience, and the next day kind of recover. Okay, a catamaran, and this is important for you guys to know. Don't miss this part. A catamaran isn't just for sailors. It's not. It's most of the people that book catamarans with me are not sailors at all. I mean, that helps a little bit, but not much, right? It actually solves every travel style problem. You want easy? Everything's handled. You want adventure? You're moving daily to where the adventure is. You want relaxing? Nothing is rushed. You can stay exactly where you are, dinghy into the beach and get a massage or go to that spa. You want variety? Hey, every day is different. Just pull up the anchor and go somewhere new. It's not one trip. It's all the trips in one. And here's the truth. Most people look at this and think, well, that sounds amazing, but maybe not for me. I'm not a sailor. I don't like boats. And with the pricing, maybe it's too expensive. And with the pricing in the Med or the Caribbean, that might be the case. That's usually because no one has ever shown them how simple it is. It actually is here in Thailand, and there's companies that make it just perfect and smooth. You know, a small group. Most of these catamarans have 4 cabins, so you're looking at 8 people total, along with a captain, and if you have a crew, shared cost between those 8 people. And if you want it, fully crewed, so you don't have to do anything. But I don't recommend that. I recommend you learn while you're there. Might as well learn how to sail, and you can do that in about 2 or 3 hours, no problem. And suddenly you're not planning a vacation anymore. You're creating something people talk about for the rest of their lives. Like when I plan these expeditions, remember, expedition means like you have a purpose. You're doing something with a purpose. In our expeditions, one of the purposes is to live fully, right? And you're going with a purpose. We're going to do some bucket list things, and we're going to live fully while we're out there. So let's bring this all together for you. If you've listened closely, you probably realize something. There's no single best place in Thailand. It's kind of the point. There's only the place that's right for you. It usually comes down to when you're going, what's your travel style, how easy you want the logistics to be, if you want someone else to do it for you, and the kind of beaches you actually want to experience, and what your days are going to look like. And then finally, the energy that you're bringing to the trip. And if you really want to unlock the best of everything, don't choose just one island. Move through them. In my opinion, that's where the magic happens. Wow, I didn't think this would end up being a commercial for a catamaran charter, but I guess that's my passion. Okay, having said all that, let me say this real quick for you. Every year I take a small group of travelers on what I call a Thailand adventure expedition. Actually, the title of it is, it goes along with my book, The Magic of Thailand Expedition. And this November, we're doing something really special. We're combining the island hopping down the Siam Spice Route, down the Andaman coast, with the kind of experience the kind of experience we talked about today. We're combining that with one of the most unforgettable cultural moments that the world has to offer. What I'm talking about is the Yiping Lantern Festival up in Chiang Mai, right? The floating lanterns rising into the night sky, and then days on the ocean and island hopping and exploration like we've talked about. It's a rare combination of adventure and meaning. I love that Yiping Festival. That should be on everybody's bucket list. If that sounds like something you've been looking for, all you have to do is email me. Email me at support@thailandadventurenetwork.com. Support@thailandadventurenetwork.com. Just put expedition in the subject line and I'll share all the details for you and see if you're a right fit for that. Because, obviously it's not for everybody, but there's a lot of people that would love it. And if you've got great value, if you get great value from this episode, do me a favor, share it with someone who's thinking about maybe coming to Thailand or thinking about any vacation. It would be really good for them, because one good decision can turn a simple trip into something absolutely unforgettable. I know. All right. I'm your host, Bill Mullen, also the author of the book, Getting Lost in the Magic of Thailand, Island Hopping Down the Siam Spice Route. I hope to see you in Thailand, but until then, friends, travel far, connect deeply, and live fully.